Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the General's Quarters. Please be seated. Today we're going to be talking about the battle report of Admiral Motti versus General Dodonna. Now this is the Rapid Response 1, and this will be Hera versus Vader. Also, it'll be showcasing the Venator for the Imperials and the Rebel 1, or the Providence Carrier, for the Rebels. Alright, so today we're going to look at the Dodonna fleet that I had, which will be featuring the Rebel 1 and Hera, mind you. So let's start off with the basic stuff. So right now I decided, and remember this was done in like 24 hours, so I was just trying to get my fleet together, put things together, and I said, okay, let's play. From when it dropped, and luckily Ben and I were able to basically get this fleet on and get it aired and stuff like that as soon as it dropped. It was great. It was wonderful. I'm sure he was running around looking for a fleet that he could put in, though he does a lot of theory crafting, so he probably had a Venator put in somehow, figured out. But anyways, so General Dodonna. So I took him because A, he is my second best. I couldn't see doing Akbar on here, and Akbar costs more. General Dodonna, he costs 20, but he's got one of the easiest, basically, abilities. So anytime I do a crit, or anytime I should say any crits happen to the enemy fleet, I get to the top 4 cards and pick which one I want. So it's really an easy one to start off with, and I really like the guy. So anyways, so I have him on the CR90A that has the long range. I was gonna try to keep him, not gonna spoil it, but try to keep him at long range and such, and hopefully keep his crits on going. Now, to protect him though, I have Major Derlin over here, who can basically once per round, basically reduce damage by 1. So, and then I have Reinforced Blast Doors. Reinforced Blast Doors are just in case. It's a CR9, yeah, it's because it's got 2 evades, it's got shields, but all the dice that I know a Venator could throw. And I didn't know at this time if Ben was going to bring a Spotty or whatever. I didn't really look at the Venator much. I was more looking at the Rebel. So I wasn't quite sure what he could do. And with Ben, you never know what he's going to do. So I thought, I'll take Reinforced Blast Doors. Great idea. We'll throw that in there, just to be safe. Now I took Tantive 4. Tantive 4 I took because I wanted a way where I could give off tokens to other ships. So it was going to be a backup to comms net. So if Rebel 1 or any of the other ships that are in this fleet did need to basically need a different token, maneuver, engineering, all those others, then he was going to help. And since he's an only 1 command ship, Tantive 4 is actually very powerful. It's basically another comm, isn't it? So that's what he was on. And the other one I had was the other CR90, CR90B. This was Dodonna's Pride. Now, there's several reasons why I did this ship. A, I like Dodonna's Pride. I mean, I really do. And also, I know Ben likes to blow it up. So it was going to be kind of a diversion. And if you watch the video, you'll see Ben goes after the ship, which is why I kept it come out and around, and try to go along scared of the edges before he destroys it, pulling his Venator out of sync of his rest of his fleet. So on this Venator, I have excellent shield techs, which instead of using the shield shield defense token, I could use expert shield text to reduce it by 1. Now there's several reasons why I put it in here. One reason was, what if he's just doing flak? Or not flak, but what if he's just doing long range shot? You can only get 1 red in there, or, you know, something like that. Why spend an evade? Why spend a shield to move around something else when I can do some damage? Plus, if he does the exact damage which Ben likes to do, that will kill something, I can use that to reduce it by 1 damage. Because I already knew this was going to be out of shields. I was already counting on that. So, it was one of the defense things I was thinking about. I could let your countermeasures on as well, just to help out. On defense, we all know how wonderful electronic countermeasures is. I got high capacity ion turbines, which increases the battery armaments for my left and right hull zones by 1 blue die. Now, 1 blue die, okay, so now I have 3 blue dice on each of my left and right hull zones. So yes, I was going to be doing some double arcing with all my ships. That was the plan. And because Dodonna's Pride, anytime I get a crit, all dice that deal 1 face up, cancel all attack dice. So I could do, let's just say 3 damage. Or, 3 damage. Or I could do 3 accuracy. No, 3 damage, I'm sorry. If I do 3 damage, I would cancel all attack dice so I could deal him 1 face-up card, which Dodonna gets to pick. Now, people are like, well, what? Wait a minute. That's a far better way. If you do 3 damage, you take down shields and all that, and blah, blah, blah. No. I want a crit to definitely go through. Especially crit, and I want it to go through. And that way, he has to take whatever it does, which can take down shields all around, which can do extra structural damage, as we all love. Not to have on our own ships, but on the enemy ship. But, and then it might be able to reduce the speed. If the speed keeps going, he takes more damage. There's so many crits out there you don't want in your ships. So I knew that this, combined with Dodonna, would work out really, really well. And he would go after this ship, because this is not a ship he wants coming up his aft. I mean, he does not want to come up on the back end. He does not want it double arcing. He wants to get rid of that ship ASAP, as fast as possible, because this is just too, it's deadly. I mean, it's a really deadly ship. And CR90s, both of them, they can move really well. So I was like, yeah, Dodonna is really going to be on this ship. Now, we're going to come down to, we're going to skip Rebel 1 right away, because we'll get back to that in a minute. We're going to get down to the GR75, or my drunken party bus, I guess. Yes, this actually is a drunken party bus. She came back. Anyway, so the drunken party bus I brought on again, torn far, of course, because now I got blue dice on the CR90s as well. And so I want to be able to re-roll one of them if I have to. Let's say I get all accuracies, which sometimes is my luck. So I want her to be able to help them out as well as my squadrons. Again, we'll look in a little after we look at Rebel 1. I got CommsNet, again, to pass over tokens that might be needed to the other ships. So con, fire, engineering, maneuver, whatever I might need. So, you know, I wanted that. And then Bright Hope, just to keep it a little, to keep it alive a little bit longer and make it a little more annoying for Ben. So, Drunken Party Bus is one that he does like to fire at, but at the same time, you know, he does have some respect for it. Alright, so let's take a look at Rebel 1. Now, I will tell you, when Rebel 1 first came out, and I was looking at it, I fell for the trap that everybody fell for. I mean, Akbar was just in my head. It's a trap, and I fell for it. So, I'm going to pull up the card real quick. This is a card we probably have not seen as much. I have not played Separatist, I'm sorry, as often as I should. Now I'm getting back into them by the way, guys. You have another Batrep coming up. Seeing the Sea Rocks coming in, and I love them. But anyways, we'll get back to that in a minute. Back to that next time. But as you can see, the Providence class carrier, which Ben and I have been calling Rebel 1, is kind of misleading for various people, including myself. And it's nothing that the developers did it wrong. Nope, not at all. I totally understand why they did it. So when you see the word carrier right there, you're thinking it's going to be in charge of all the squadrons. It's going to have all these wonderful, you can do 5 squadron, like that. It's going to have all these wonderful things for squadrons. Well, the reason why they did that, and we spoke about it in the video, was that you could put the right cardboard down on the ship. So you're not firing with the wrong dice, you're not doing, all that other stuff. You don't have the wrong upgrades and all that jazz. But it's not a carrier version, it's not really a main carrier. It's a support ship. So I did fall into that trap. And as you can see at the side here, I have, I put Ezra because I want to be able to move stuff around, because Providences don't move very well. They don't. They're missiles. I mean, to be honest, they're submarines and missiles, what you want to call them. So I want Ezra to be out there just in case I needed to get around something. I put flight commanders on here. I put flight controllers. I put boosted comms, expanded hangar bay. I put flighter control team, coordination team, sorry. And then I had engineering techs also to help with maneuverability. Really, it makes out a really good carrier, as you can see. Except it only has 2 squadron naturally. With a hangar bay, it has 3. Which is not bad. I mean, 3 is not a bad squadron carrier or pusher, but it is not the original Providence carrier that had like 4 or 5, and then you put extra hangar bay on it, and you add 1 more to that. I mean, that is a carrier, but this one also lost 1 speed because a regular carrier Providence has a speed 3. So it lost a speed, and I believe it lost a yaw at the 2, because the 2 should have another yaw. But this makes sense. I think Ben and I went over it in the pre and post game. That that they find. I mean, Karnak went over this, and I believe Kravik did too. The rebels go out there and they find whatever they can find to use for the war. And they probably found this Hulk out there, and they pulled it in, and it just didn't have all the stuff it used to have. And some of the stuff was outdated and all that jazz. We're going thematic here, guys. And so they put whatever they could fit into it. So it changes the things, and plus you gotta remember that the squadrons are bigger in the future than they were in the past. Think of a biplane back in World War I versus an F-14. I mean, yeah, it's much bigger, much more bulkier. Yeah, you're not going to just be able to fit it in very well into a old carrier back in World War I. But so this ship, you see the upgrades down here. I mean, you can 2 officers plus your commander if you wanted to. So you have 2 weapon teams, and then you have 2 offensive upgrades and 2 support teams. So this is a lot. Unfortunately, you can only put one extended hangar bay on here. Unfortunately, but you can put boosted comms on there and a bunch of other stuff on there. There are so many of all of these. All of them. I mean, let's just take a look at the, let's take a look at weapons support. I mean, you could put gunnery support if you wanted to. Caitlin's showing firing control. I mean, it depends on what you want to do with the ship. This ship has so many possibilities. So many. So many. And this is just touching the iceberg. I mean, we haven't even come down to what else this thing can do, which I'll explain in a minute. But the offensive, as you see in the offensive, retrofit, you can do another bunch of things. Things that you probably have not used before. Maybe you haven't used Advanced Transport Net. I think I used that once, and you know, I could put this on this ship and just have the bombers nearby, and all of a sudden they're preventing, you know, other squadrons from engaging my ships. I mean, dang. You put flak guns up, which, I mean, you could do that. You could have put disposal capacitors. I don't know if you do flag, which off the top of my head. I don't think. Yeah, you probably could do flag. Let's check real quick. You probably could. And you get hardened bulkheads. I mean, it's a missile, so you just send this guy in. You can play the tractor beams. I mean, there is so many things. This is a support ship. This is an indictor, almost. Well, actually, it is an indictor for the rebels. I can see a bunch of indictor stuff coming on here. Point defense reroute, proxying mines, or laser turns, rapid launch base. I mean, you can bring up the B2s, B2 wings, basically on this ship. It'd be only 2, unless you have a hangar base, and it'd be 3. And you can bring them in close and just drop them on everybody. And they're protected. You don't have to worry about them tied up. He has to worry, or the enemy has to worry, about where you're going to drop them. And hopefully take down this ship beforehand. So, I mean, those 2 offensive swap, offensive retrofit teams is pretty incredible. There's so many things you can do on this thing. So many things. You got an interdictor now. Okay? Because you'll also see, speaking of interdictors, you will see under the support teams, you can put projection experts on there. I mean, this thing has great shields. So you could start passing off shields to people, your other ships. And it only costs 95 points. So, yeah, it's another interdictor for the rebels. I don't know if anybody's thought of that before, and I just thought of it now. But, I mean, there's so many things. But now here is the fun part. And I say the fun part because I think this is one of the other things I noticed besides squadrons, was that under the weapons support team and the offensive outfit retrofits, you guess I have to take one guy off. But let's go take a look over here for a minute. So another thing you can see, and this is kind of a second thing I noticed after Carrier, was that you have these wonderful 2 weapon teams and 2 retrofits, offensive retrofits, which means you can add on boarding teams. So let's just take an example. We're going to put on a, it's got good engineering, so we're going to put on boarding engineers, and then we're going to put on another one. So pick somebody. put Jan. GG. Alright. So, look at that. You can have 2 boarding teams now. So you can have Jin and the boarding engineers on there. Plus whatever else you want. I'm having right now the my rest of what I have in the other ship. Original ship. But, I mean, look at this. Now it is even more of a support. It can move your squadrons. It can engine tech itself. It can, has Ezra up there moving stuff out of your way. So when you shoot like a missile, you're shooting a missile, but you're actually going to drop off Jin and your boarding engineers on top of another enemy ship. I mean, that is absolutely bonkers. That's crazy. I mean, before, dropping one of these boarding troopers was incredible, but now you can drop 2. It's not just a one-shot deal. So you can drop like 2 different ships. You can drop it off on, you know, I'll have to see how the rules play about dropping off 2 on the same ship. But, you know, this is an incredible idea. It's a missile. This is your torpedo boat. You're going to board other boarding parties. Your pirate ship, whatever you want to call it. Whatever works for you. But this is going to be that. I mean, you could take off the engine teams. You could take off, your fighter coordination team. You can take off your flight controllers and see what else you can come up with. So, you know, you might be able to add other things. I mean, you might want engine techs on there just in case they move out of the torpedo kind of barrage. But, you know, I mean, you could find another offset works great. I mean, come on, there are so many things that you can do with this ship. I mean, it is a very credible ship. I mean, it's not just boarding engineers you can do. I mean, you can do all kinds of other things. So, anyway, so this is basically, and look, we're around 391 now. Because Jin and the boarding engineers actually cost less than what I had before. So now you can add more points onto this. Or wherever else you can add it onto. You might want to take out a CR90. You know, and put something else in. Because my CR9s are 65 points total with all the upgrades. So you could do something else. So this Providence carrier is an incredible ship. Even though at first we'll look and we all see carrier on it and think, why does it only carry 2 squadrons? Why is the movement, the speed down to 2? Why is the movement speed at 2, but net to 2 speed? It's no yaw. You can't do a yaw at all. Why? But I don't get it. You know. Don't forget you got salvo and you have disco dice with salvo. So I mean, there's so many things you do with this ship. I mean, this is an incredible. Wrong person. But this is an incredible ship. I mean, look at the dice on it. Yeah, it's got rainbow dice all the way around. But you get this thing in a double arc in close quarters to drop off your boarding teams and blast. You know, you are going to do some major damage. So this is something that people have been asking for quite a while. Why can't the rebels have a Providence ship? Why can't the Imperials have a Venator? Why can't they have, I don't know if they've asked for Vader in a better ship or anything else, but, or even Hera, they might have asked her in a B2, but, or B-Wing. Don't know why I keep calling it B2. But in a B-Wing, there was another ship that she had. But, you know, they listened. And the Sea Rocks, I mean, they put them into for Separatists, which again we're going to touch on the Sea Rocks later, another Batrep. But for now, and then Ben will be. Well, he's already talked about Vader, and I'll be talking about her in just a minute. So let's talk. Actually, why don't we go for there? But real quick, again, this ship, more possibilities than you can think of. You can do so much. This thing, so much. Just because it doesn't have the guns on it, it doesn't have the, who cares? You can. There's so many other things you can do besides just gunship or carrier. There is so many things. So back to the original fleet that I had played that we're here for. Now we're going to go down and we're going to look at the fleet I had, the squadrons I had. Now, just going to go over really quick that the squadrons I had. We're going to talk about Hera last. Because I know what Hera can do, and again, talk about her in a minute. But I made the Biggs ball. Okay? So you got Biggs, you got Jan, and then you got 3 X-Wings in there. Okay? So as normal, that's a Biggs ball. It's great. Pass off damage, you can use Jan's defense tokens on a regular X-Wing. I mean, you have the damage on that. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful. Biggs ball's awesome. Now, when I saw Hera, and now we talk about Hera. Now when I saw Hera's new card here, I saw that when you activate a friendly squadrons at distance 1 that have escort, gain adept 1 until the end of turn, which means that they reroll. She also gets dodge, and she's a bomber. So, and she's a black die bomber, which is nice. And I automatically thought Biggs ball. Because in Biggs ball, everybody but Jan is escort. So they all get adept 1. Now I will say, when I played Hera, I did not play her correctly. Not meaning against any of her abilities or anything. Oh, I guess you could say her abilities. So yes, when I activated Hera, I activated her at the wrong time. She should have gone in first. So, as we'll just watch a small part of the video here, so that you can see what I was talking about. I also did know something else wrong here, and that was getting out into the debris field. I should have went up to Vader, if possible, outside of the debris field to get that 1 extra die from flight controllers, and not subtract it. I mean, it equaled out if you think about it, but that 1 extra die would have been good. So it has a squadron. So it has a squadron command and squadron token. So it's able to activate 4. So I move an X-Wing in first. Yeah, and no rerolls because Hera's not range, which I would have rerolled. No, I probably would not have rerolled. But I would have gotten 1 extra die. So, Vader, sorry. Might as well call him Ben as well. He takes 2 damage here. So he's down to 4. Now this is when I move Hera in. I'm really used to playing defensive. So I want my guys into debris fields, so that they don't get attacked. That is what I gotta break a little bit with Hera. Now, I even checked Party Bus from Party Bus to get an extra reroll. wasn't within reroll. As you can see, we used Tater's wonderful ruler that he made for me here, just to check. But I move. Well, I gotta get that cardboard on the paper for her. But so she's got some different dice, and she does 2 hits. And again, she would have had one more die if. But she would have done that. She can re-roll for herself, though. So now, since it's a casual game, Ben asked if I did not want to be instructed. We're both trying to learn out the new ships, and I do crit, so it doesn't do anything. It does 2 damage anyways, no matter what. So he's gonna brace it. He's gonna take 1 more damage, and he's down to 3 now. So I will now move another Jarrett. Now this is where this is shit of how I played Hera. Hera should have went in first and had the other X-Wings come in and do their damage. Unfortunately, the debris field's there, and that's a tactical error on my part. So let's take a look at this here. Look, 2 accuracies again on Vader. That means he's taking at least 1 damage. See, I roll a recrit. I got damage. There's 2 damage right there, and I would have got another die, which I could have rolled the damage. So that's how you do not play Hera, because you will see cut. Actually, later, never mind. Don't cut. Well, cut the cutting part, I guess. But as you'll see, he'll have Vader on 1 health point, and Vader will fly off to the space station, which is not that far at all. I mean, I think a B-wing could make it there, but and he has him stay on the ship, on the space station, and moves around the space station a little bit to get some health. And throughout the game, I will have Vader on me. Vader will go down. He does go down, but Hera gets taken out too. So unfortunately, both Hera and Vader get taken out in this game. But again, we were just so happy to play with the new stuff, you know. And so we're learning. So going back to looking at Hera, she should have been in the lead. I mean, she is a leader. If you think about all the thematics and everything else, she is a leader of all her squadrons. So she's supposed to go in first. And, you know, she does not have escort. That's the only problem. And I said it's a problem is because she won't get adept. So anyways. But she does have dodge, which does come into play during the video, on the Batrep. And the dodge does help. At the beginning, when I was doing Separatist, dodge it seems like okay, but even Ben was the same thing, like okay. But as we've been seeing, playing those ships more and more, dodge actually has been useful. So, and it makes sense with her. I mean, she is an excellent pilot. So, it was a lot of fun playing her, and she'll be playing again soon. I don't know when I'll be playing her again, but so anyways, that was the problem with her, plus the debris field. The debris field was a huge tactical error. I'm used to being a defensive player, so I'm used to playing the debris field. He used the debris field correctly. He'll get around Hera with all his defenders and get on the outside of the escorts and just take her out. And even the Dodge 1, he eventually takes her out. I think it took maybe 3 or something. But I mean, she did what? I mean, she got 5 hull, so she was able to take the damage. But Biggs couldn't help her out, and Jan has the same defense tokens as she does, 2 braces. So it was one of those things. But anyway, so that's Hera. I love Hera. She's great. I love her in both forms. But I'm thinking I'm liking her more in this X-Wing. And if they ever do a B-Wing version of her, oh man, I wonder what that's going to look like. You know what I'm saying? So, this was the fleet. Yes, I had targeting beacons, planetary ion cannons, and navigational hazards. Just so you know, for my objectives. But again, it was quickly done, but I'm happy with the fleet. I would change Rebel 1 a lot. And I would change how I move my fleets a lot. So, this is how it went down, and what I was thinking. And the other thing was that to keep his Venator busy with Dodonna and Dodonna's Pride. It was mainly supposed to be Dodonna's Pride, not Dodonna. Dodonna was supposed to turn inward quicker, but I misdeployed him. He should have been deployed closer to Rebel 1. And left Dodonna's Pride out to be hurt. Hurt that pride. But I knew he would chase it because that Dodonna's Pride. So that is basically how it worked for Rapid Reinforcements 1. And it was a fun game. Ben and I had a lot more fun in this one. It was just a good game because we got new stuff, and both of us did. And so, Rapid Reinforcements 1, AMG, thank you. It was a great idea about doing this. It's just paper. You print it off. You already got the models. And you just go with it. I mean, all factions get something. Yes, the Separatists don't get a squadron. Again, it could be development team, or it could be the testing team, thinking that something was just not balanced, maybe. So, so they don't get a squadron. But the Sea Rocks are incredible too. The Venator was very good. Ben really enjoyed the Venator. And you'll be seeing another Batrep with the Venator and the Imperials coming up soon as well. And he'll be playing against Josh with it. So, again, thank you all, and have a good day. Dismissed.